When it comes to the first-person shooter, a voyeuristic variety of the video game, the modernizing milestones in its fruition are historically many. As one of these later landmarks would accurately boast in its subtitle, the growth of the FPS as one of the most visceral forms of engagement today does not owe itself to any one title. There was no big bang for the shooter, which ironically did not blast its way onto the scene in a method as frenetic as its fiction. Rather, it crawled from baptism by fire to evolved combat to the modern warfare firmly fixed on the front today. Though you can trace this evolution as far back as the primordial ooze of the arcades in games like Maze War and Battlezone, id Software's Wolfenstein 3D and Doom were the ones to really establish the core blueprint of the category. Backed by the programming mastery and creative design of the two Johns, Carmack and Romero respectively, these games set the stage for the PC phenomenon that wasted many a worker's hours to the disgruntled dismay of his employer, blowing bots to bits in a deathmatch. The virtuality of seeing through the eyes of your hero almost took the hero right out of the equation entirely. You were the hero, more than you could ever be over the shoulder. And in 3D, id's revolutionary rampages were adulterated, eye-popping awesomeness. But this escapist elation was monopolized by the PC, its parties now passionately proud and protective of their newly born pulsating game type. For years, the shooter genre was more of a Doom clone genre, with hordes of rip-offs, most encouraged by Carmack's open-source shareware theology, flooding the market. GoldenEye 007, instead of copying id's design, radically built upon it. Rareware, a company built of industry veterans no stranger to reforming the mold, was back on its familiar high horse after the graphically groundbreaking Donkey Kong Country, and though initially toying with the thought of sticking it safe and turning the GoldenEye movie license into a Super Nintendo side-scroller, gambling gonads played a straight flush with the shooter. GoldenEye was principally golden because of its realism. Instead of the comic book over-the-top slaughter of Doom, James Bond's operation was methodical. Inspired by Super Mario 64's idea of presenting the gamer with multiple objectives in every level, GoldenEye's assignments included a multitude of mini-missions. Save the hostages, install a covert modem, that sort of thing. The open-world feel of being able to approach these secondary objectives in a flexible order, and each mission's ending string of stats, gave the game extremely long legs. Just loads of replay value. As in other spy games like Splinter Cell years later, gracefully getting through a max security missile silo without a single hitch was a rewarding rush and kept you coming back for more. Bond's signature PPK was your default mode of dispatching guards, its silencer making stealth a major part of the game, a component that had always eluded the shooter. Doom had made the shooter frontal, blasting the living hell out of everyone and everything your only priority. But GoldenEye was about subtlety and choice. While you could definitely whip out your Kalashnikov and rile up the camp from the outset, you felt duty-bound as your virtual incarnation of Her Majesty's Secret Service to stay under the radar until that metaphorical radar was riddled with figurative red. The gunplay kicked ass and firmly proved to the PC camp that the consoles could shelter the shooter just as amiably. In the greatest leap for realistic violence since the use of digitized graphics in earlier fighting games like Pit Raider and Mortal Kombat, GoldenEye was an anatomy lesson. Shooting limbs and lower parts of the body would cripple your enemies, but headshots would kill instantly. The destructive sound of the AK was music to the malicious male, and the animations of its movement were unexpectedly immersive, your weapon adjusting ever so slightly as your sight swerved. And for the first time in a shooter, the sniper rifle was equipped with a zoom feature, although aiming at 100 yards with questionable draw distance and finicky controls can be a royal pain. Yes, we sure as heck had some good times huddled in the darkness of our lonesome bedrooms plowing through another late-night session of GoldenEye, but it was those multiplayer moments with our buddies that trumped those solo sessions with numbing ease and gave us the conversational catalog we'll take to our high school reunion years from now to re-break ice once liquefied by the heated exchange of golden gun gluttons. The graphics were unbelievable. Deaths were gratifyingly gory, communist combatants flailing their arms, grabbing their gut, and flying back at the fearsome force of a bullet barrage. Glass shattered, bullet holes and blood brutalized the environment, and all of the faithfully recreated scenes from the movie were captured in huge open worlds that made you feel like you had a lot more freedom than you really had. You felt like James Bond. That and its revolutionary innovations are what made GoldenEye 007 so breathtaking. Remember, the shooter has been a gradual process, and each milestone title in its history has fabricated its formula and left a legacy. Doom outlined the basic parameters of movement, and Halo would master the console's controls. Because of the N64's one control stick, GoldenEye 007 was therefore not yet the complete FPS that we now know. But what it did was just as extraordinary as those other titles. Its design innovated in more ways than one, from graphics to gameplay, proving once and for all to the world that the genre was viable on the home hardware. Its realism set the benchmark for the military shooter, and its mature content kept the N64 afloat against the edgier PlayStation. By all measures, GoldenEye 007 should not have worked. A licensed game late of the movie by 2 years no less, a console shooter by an inexperienced team kept true solely by the veteran leadership and work ethic of the Stamper brothers. Yeah, well, I guess rarer things have been realized.